You always know when these two names pop up in a matchup, it's probably going to be a good one. In the top right-hand side, the blue Terran player is INnoVation. Taking on the bottom left, red Protoss player Zest in a best of 3 TvP from the Alpha X Code CD tournament. Group stage 2, if I'm not mistaken. So, top 8 players. And yeah, I'm not sure if this was winner's match or anything, actually. I'm just kind of picking series out of the list of series that I have. And obviously, INnoVation and Zest generally seem like pretty good names to cast. And they always make for good matches. Usually, we've had a lot of fun games between INnoVation and Zest recently. And stuff like that, so always fun to get to catch another one. Of course, if you're watching this out on the YouTube channel, hello, how are you guys doing? This is one of these videos recorded primarily for YouTube. We are casting on live on Twitch as well at the same time, simply because I wanted to put a stream on today, and I hadn't streamed today or anything, and it just helps me do lots of games in a row rather than being lazy and getting distracted between matches. So yeah, this is primarily for YouTube though, so we're going to put our full efforts into the cast. It's going to be fully game focused, as we do have this game starting up. So that does mean, of course, it gives me the chance to say, hit that like button, subscribe as well if you like what you hear, and if you want to hear more of it, we obviously upload once a day here over on the YouTube channel. So do check us out in the future with that subscribe, as we have some chatter between the casters. Obviously, the players don't see that. They're talking about the Taiwanese server, which is, for some reason, this happens to me a lot. When I'm hosting on Korea, my server host resets to be Taiwan by default a lot of the time, and it's very frustrating. It's just something I have to go back and fix manually every time I log on to Korea, which is so stupid. So it's very, very annoying. It's very stupid, very silly. And I imagine that's just what happened here. The good news is it's not too bad for the players. If they're in Korea, sometimes the Taiwanese server can be a little bit hiccupy. But usually it's pretty okay. It's usually more problematic for observers. We have a slightly worse connection, the majority of us, to Taiwan than we do to Korea. So if your connection to Korea is already sometimes a bit jittery, like we've had some issues lately, I'm sure you guys have seen some people lagging out of games, then the next thing you know, actually taking it that one step further can cause more issues. But it doesn't seem to be an issue here. And of course, I mean, we're casting the replay anyway, so as far as we're concerned, if there's any issue, we're gonna skip right through it. That's the glory that we have. That's our replay casting privilege. As we do see our Reaper out down the bottom side. So we have seen an attempt to scout, but the unit was there, the Adept to block. And so the Reaper moves away, and Zest is gonna plop down a pylon over here. Right, well, this is funny, because I just casted Zest in the TSL yesterday playing Hero Marine, and he did exactly this on this map. He plopped down the pylon, he plopped down the Dark Shrine right next to it, and he just went for some super quick DTs. And in the TSL, that caught Hero Marine completely off guard. Hero Marine, 2 DTs ran up this ramp. Hero Marine had a scan, and as the DTs ran up the ramp, they sliced, and as the first slice went down, he dropped his mule, and it was an insta GG. So Zest's going to do the same here against INnoVation. Is going to rush up to that Dark Shrine. As the Cyclone is on the way in the main base, this Orbital is going to finish morphing in. It's going to drop down a mule, lift off, and move to the natural expansion. As another barracks is going to finish here as well. So it's going to be pretty fast 3 racks in total. No starport at all, and that does mean there's a higher bio unit count coming into play on this. That means you can definitely get across the map aggressively very easily here as INnoVation. The biggest challenge for INnoVation is just going to be surviving these DTs. I kind of love that Zest then goes charge, because by going charge, he's realistically going to give himself an Archon charge lot follow-up. But also, even defensively, it's going to help out a lot more than trying to go into later Blink Stalkers off the back of these DTs. This definitely makes the most sense at the moment. There's a good amount of Marines gathering up at the front. The Cyclone of INnoVation makes its way down to the bottom left, and it's going to arrive to see a couple Stalkers and an Adept just sitting there. So it's going to be like, nope, let's get the heck out of here. Let's go turn still and go running as this Dark Shrine finishes. And our first 2 Dark Templar already warping in here from Zest. So they are going to move up this right-hand side. Up the right-hand side toward the natural expansion. We do have a few Marines already lying in wait out the front of this natural. Unfortunately, Marines lying in wait don't do much if you don't scan right away. And that's a bit of a shame, because that is, it takes away the potential to just defend this right away. And now the scan comes down in a position where the DTs are able to just run out of there. So no Dark Templars were lost in the making of this initial attack. Second scan not ready yet, so it's a good call by Zest just to go for this depot. He's going to get in, and you can see already the tank on siege, and it wants to pull back. He doesn't want to be a sit-and duck for these DTs, but the next tank rallies forward. Next scan comes down. Obviously, there's no kill on that tank, but this is very frustrating for INnoVation. He's already not mining off the natural expansion. His tanks are hurt, and they're going to need repair, and if nothing else, this CC is lifted, and that's where the next scan is. Turret's still not ready, and once again, the tanks are unsieging. Zest's going to find one of them. He's going to move straight in, and that should be a dead turret. INnoVation might just be on the verge of... Well, he's not going to lose because he's going to have a scan now from the natural. That should be... Oh, no, it's not going to get both the DTs, is it? And he's going to need... Well, maybe not one more scan. He's got a turret build, and there'll be a few more SCVs perhaps that go down still, or Marine or 2 extra. Zest doing some great play with this as 2 more DTs go into the natural expansion, go straight through for that missile turret, which will get taken down already. So missile turret gets cancelled. GT will just continue to fight its way through this racks as we have another missile turret in the main base. 5 SCVs down as we just have the depots in the back of the natural expansion continuing to fall. It will be down soon as well. Man, this has really been a massacre here for INnoVation. He's lost so much. Look at the income advantage that's as great as INnoVation still not mining off 2 bases. The only thing I will say, man, he actually only lost 3 DTs. Okay, well, the only thing I will say is that Zest still has to defend this one attack, right? This one attack which has Stimpack, it has combat shields, it's been off 3 racks. Can this one attack of INnoVation do something, do anything? If he catches this Warp Prism and the Archon right away... Oh my god, no, it's 2 Archons. Oh no, this is not good. One of them is still Morphins. He's actually going to get a kill on 1 Archon for free. 1 Archon on its own harassing into the main base I don't think is INnoVation's major concern here. Still, supply blocked, 57 over 54. I'm afraid though. What is Zest doing? Why are you on the map? Why is Zest moving across the map? He has 0 reason to try and base trade. There's 0 reason for him to be out here trying to set up any form of a base trade. Honestly, like, this makes absolutely 0 sense. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. Okay, 20 workers go down. Well, it might just work out anyway because I guess he is base trading with DTs on his side, and base trading with DTs is very different to base trading without DTs. Maybe he was just afraid of this army. I don't see why. I just feel like this gives INnoVation more chances of finding some weird way back into the game. Again, is that necessarily going to happen here? Well, probably not. His Dark Shrine's over here, right? So in that regard, Zest is okay to then guarantee he will have some DTs available. And you can already see, actually, this DT warped in back at home. It's already dealing a lot of damage. And while this orbital is not going to be allowed to land, hallucinations are going to help to make sure of that, really cover all this area. So this DT just continues to deal damage, and there's just no way INnoVation gets the detection he needs to actually deal with this. He's on 0 SCVs. I know it's a little bit questionable about Zest moving across the map, and honestly, I still would be, even after seeing the result here, that it's going to be okay for Zest. I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? Dark Shrine across the map, you know, he knows it's a base trade, so he knows how he wants to prepare for it. I just feel like it's an unnecessary risk where this army of Zest, with the damage he'd done, was already looking okay to deal with this. Recall that Prism initially, and then boom, just jump on this army. Maybe he's just really afraid that somehow the tanks and the Marines overpower him, but I don't think that's a realistic thing. Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, in the end, there's no real issue with what he does. It just felt like the crazier way to do it. But you know what? Zest likes to win in style, and maybe this is it, as INnoVation is going to leave in style. 0 supply left in the game when he decides to type out that fated GG. And at this point, Zest may as well just change his initials to DT, because he has Mr. Dark Templar lately. DTs all of the time here in this PvT matchup. Does not stop, just keeps doing it. It is honestly quite ridiculous. Like, it almost makes me think that Zest has a silent D in his name. It's like Zest DT. And we've just never seen it written out, and he even forgot it was in there until recently. You know, next season he's going to get a name change, and he's going to be called Zest. And everyone's like, wait, what, Zest? I'm like, I'll just be like, I told you guys, Zest was a hidden DT man all this time. That D's just been as cloaked as those DTs were, as INnoVation struggled to scan them, struggled to take them down. Zest goes up 1-0 in this best of 3 against INnoVation. And we'll see, of course, if INnoVation can find a way to come back into this game. In the top right-hand side of Eternal Empire, we'll go into our second map with the blue Terran player, INnoVation, taking on the red Protoss. In the bottom left-hand side from Raise Your Edge, this is Zest. All right, so again to game 2, Zest DTing his way to victory in that first map. Moving across here, this probe of Zest going to go up to the top side. You're going to see the refinery is going to be finishing up, and just a little look to see what happens going into Eternal Empire. Obviously a large map, definitely room for some macro play, definitely room for Zest to just make DTs and win a game, because apparently that's his special strategy, and at this point it kind of feels like everybody knows about it, and yet he still does it, and it still works perfectly, and he still wins with it, and it's just like, what? Hello? How? Like, Zest, how do you keep making this happen? It's crazy. And it really, I think at this point it really is crazy. Right? Like, I think it's kind of ridiculous that you can just keep cracking this out. As this probe moves that over to the side. Command center drops onto the natural. Being a little bit annoying there, but not even really causing too much of a delay. As the cyber core finishes, SCV's government innovation staying safe just to make sure there is indeed a nexus down. And he'll go back out home with the SCV. Now he actually has got the Reaper coming across, goes into the Marine. Factory should be soon to follow. Warp gate getting started already, and just going to be seeing the setup for the future, of course. Waiting for Zest Tech Choice to tell us a bit about how he's going to open, and it will be a Twilight Council. And from the Terran, we see the factory, and it's not next to the reactor, so it will not be any sort of reacted Hellions or so, but very likely to be one Hellion to help scout with this Reaper, and then one Hellion with the Reaper, and then in towards a couple Widow Mines for that Widow Mine drop, which obviously does so much in the early stages. Gets you out onto the map, gets you some presence, gets you in a position where you can keep the units of Zest at home. In this game, we do not have Zest build an proxied pylon to hide a Dark Shrine, so I kind of want to believe that this will just be Blink, unless he just wants to straight up build his Dark Shrine in his base. But I'd also be surprised just to see that twice in a row in general. Is INnoVation going to drop a pretty quick armory in the main base? Let's see, this armory is about halfway done. The Orbital Command about halfway along. Tech Lab on the factory. The armory is fun because it means we're going to see Drilling Claws. Definitely changing it up a bit and definitely giving INnoVation a good chance to really deal some damage with these Widow Mine drops. Makes them that much scarier, right? It really forces the Protoss to have pretty much instantaneous reactions. You have to pull those workers away straight away. Otherwise, you're not going to have a good time. This is a great catch. This Reaper finds this probe that just wants to set up a pylon to watch for drops. Watch for maybe the Widow Mine drop coming into location. As the Reaper will go running. He shouldn't die to the Adept Shade. The Adept Shade fires once, and that is that. Can you build an armory without an engineering bay? Yes. The only requirement for an armory is a factory. So once you have a factory, you can build an armory. It's beautiful. Otherwise, it would be kind of silly if you had to build an engineering bay to build armory to go mech upgrades, right? So I think the factory is a fair necessity. As you see this Reaper going down, just going to be seeing our Nexus of Zest on third base, just around the 4-minute mark, a little bit later, so it's not a super greedy third. It's also not anything super crazy from Zest in terms of pressure. He's not going to go up to 4 gateways and a ton of Stalkers. He's just got a couple already warping in, and it's just 2 gates still. So it really should be pretty relaxed here from INnoVation in terms of defense. There shouldn't really be many Stalkers on the map, especially because Zest will have to keep his Stalkers at home, not just to deal with this first Widow Mine drop, but to deal with the second mine drop, because there's not just going to be one when you invest in a Drilling Claws. What a scout this is from the Hallucinated Phoenix. Gets in, gets to see the upgrade on the Tech Lab, and he should know now Drilling Claws. And now, your eyes are glued to that mini-map. There is no world in which you take your eyes away from your mineral lines, because you must respond so quickly to deal with this. Super quickly. So 3 Widow Mines coming across the Stalkers. Do you have the blink? And they're going to come straight in. Actually does lose 1 Stalker and then loses 3 probes. The splash damage there was unfortunate. Zest did pull the probes properly. 1 Widow Mine did not get out there. And that's why we only saw 2 connections. Honestly, I'm not sure if Zest is too, INnoVation's too bothered. 3 probes and a Stalker. It's not a bad start, but it's obviously also not great because you lost the medevac, so you lose that bit of pressure. And yes, you've got more medevacs building, but it is just one less location that then Zest doesn't have to worry about now, right? Now he knows, okay, this one's cleaned up. Let's get to the next one. This next one, a bit predictable, coming into the natural, as the one after that will come to the main again. And I think it's these 2 medevacs at the same time that are really going to cause a majority of concern here from Zest, because I think that's the real opportunity for INnoVation to properly deal some damage, basically. When he has to deal with 2 positions at once, definitely makes it more difficult. I mean, obviously, this medevac already taking 1 big hit is an issue. Oh no, he's actually going to find this well. Really sick play by Zest. Look at that. How about that for just intuition? Has 0 vision across the map. He's just expecting the next medevac to come around this bottom side. What a beautiful shutdown that is. Great play by Zest. Great positioning. Great usage of his units in the early game. Really plays this out fantastically. You really can't complain about that one. That's amazing. It's an amazing job. Amazing effort by Zest. Wow, that was pretty sick. Well, just going to be seeing the 1-1 upgrades getting started on the back of the naturals. So, getting the 1-1 underway. Concussor shells coming up. Combat shields starting as well. It's just going to be seeing this cannon finishing up in the natural expansion as well. Going to be seeing a few Stalkers out down on the bottom side, joined by a sentry. This Colossus is going to be coming up, and that's just going to be Zest's next stop on the tech tree. He's already got a double robo as well, so he's actually really going to pump out these Colossi as he goes double forges too. You can kind of get away with this, I guess, because the bio follow-up is a bit later than usual because you invest into an armory and drilling claws. It is kind of later to do this as well anyway, right? Because this is already 3 bases, more gateways added on, etc. And then second robo, then the double forges. So Zest, I don't think, is being overly greedy, especially when he's had such a good defense early. If you lost a few more probes to Widow Mines, etc., perhaps he would have had to, stay at home, stay back and just be on 1 forge and maybe just a single robo production and more gateway units. But now really just trying to utilize his advantage at the moment. Looks scary, however, as the bio units do very well against the 0 Zealot front line. Charge just wasn't done, so it didn't really make sense to add Zealots in. The important news, the Colossi all survived, so while he lost the sentries, which are expensive, and Stalkers aren't cheap to replace either, and you definitely want them when playing with this higher Colossus count, he does keep the most important and heaviest tech part of this army alive, and he does clean everything else out. I think that's obviously a pretty big deal, so in that regard, it goes fairly well for Zest. INnoVation down to the bottom right. We are going to be seeing another Nexus of Zest dropping down, this time the 4th base, and he will start to move across the map. Now, he has a 4th Colossus, and he has the Prism coming to join in as well. Obviously, this counter of INnoVation looks as though it will get straight in here, gets probe, and going to come straight down, get this Nexus already. That will have to cancel. So let's look to go chasing down to the bottom right, and they're going to go for those Marines and Marauders. Colossi from the right side. He needs to kind of drop a force field here, I think, otherwise these Colossi are in serious trouble. Wow! He just lasered everything down. The Zealots did a fantastic job of continuing to chase as well, and so INnoVation just lost everything. And then Zest will recall back from the bottom right to the bottom left, so he's back in position to deal with this next attack. And INnoVation is shut down, turned away once again, not allowed in just yet. That is crazy, as 2-2 comes up on the engineering base there. A scan onto the 3rd base. INnoVation will move this command center out down to the low ground. A few of these Stalkers still setting up. A single big blink in actually is going to get a couple of these medevacs, and the rest of the bio showing up as well. Zealots going down. A couple of Vikings being cleaned out as well. Now this 4th base is going to die, so INnoVation, well, he denied and delayed the 4th base of Zest, but now he completely loses his own 4th base that was set up and ready to go, and that's just a shame, because if he knew Zest was coming, he maybe could have pulled it back a little bit sooner, and pulling back a little sooner there could have done a good job of helping out. Because then, of course, if you don't lose the CC, you just defend this, and then you can get going again, you can get that 4th base, and it's a world of difference. So Unfortunately for INnoVation, that ain't too pretty. Now, we do have a couple Widow Mines here and there, and a couple probes going down. Nothing too major. All of this army from Zest is going home, apart from the Stalks, which of course have the blink. So can utilize these and move around with those very easily. That's a nice Widow Mine position, though. This one to the left side caught the Warp Prism as well, if I'm not mistaken. So the 9 Warp Prisms, and if nothing else, that's going to keep Zest a little bit more kind of contained to his own side of the map. Definitely takes away some of the pressure that INnoVation would otherwise have to deal with. Definitely allows INnoVation to survive and be on the map a bit more actively himself, because we know how it goes, right? The second you go, the second you set up onto the map and you start getting a fight going in the Zealots in your main base, you've got to pull so many units back to deal with that. That's so frustrating. So for INnoVation, gives him the chance to be in this position down over here. Now, the biggest question is going to be Viking count. He's got 6 against the 4 Colossi, which doesn't really seem that promising. So let's see if it can be enough. If you combine it with really good EMPs, I mean, straight up, this position right now will just kill the 4th base. So he's going to deny the 4th base again. Zest will warp in Zealots and DTs from this top left prism. So from quite a distance away, just going to run them towards the 3rd base. Zest investing into that Shadow Stride, so we'll have DT blink in the next few moments to really help out with this, as the army set up and ready to run in whenever he feels like INnoVation is guaranteed out of position or guaranteed paying attention elsewhere. That is what you want. You want to try and create one distraction and then take advantage of it with another. And it just becomes so much harder to deal with both of those plays, successfully or properly. INnoVation on a 4th base now. Great effort from him to be able to cancel the 4th of Zest again, and that keeps Zest down on the 3 bases. And that does feel so very important at this stage of the game, after he lost his own 4th base before. To get a kill on Zest's 4th, really, I think keeps INnoVation in this in a position where otherwise he might be facing a lot of trouble. I love that Zest starts to add in some disruptors. Obviously, he hasn't gone to Templar Archives or, and with that Storm or in towards any Archons or anything. He is still sticking pretty much primarily on these Colossi. I mean, obviously, the investment into the DTs is sort of when the Templar Archives often would have come up instead. So kind of choosing for a harassment-focused strategy. But then the Disruptors really do a good job, right? Because the Disruptors buy you so much time against a Terran army. You can basically control where they do and where they don't go. And look at this. As soon as he sees this army out on the map and a bit further away, into the mineral line he goes. And there's just no response to this for multiple seconds. I mean, INnoVation sims straight back to go and deal with this. And this is still going to cost him 9 SCVs. He's going to lose a couple of units here because he didn't scan in time. He may even get a ghost. Yep. Oh, he's going to get another ghost as well. It's a really good trade. He's not even going to clean this up. Oh my goodness, INnoVation didn't really account for the DTs in this, I don't think. And so that is probably why A, the EMP/scan was late, and second of all, I just didn't have enough there. And then he loses 8 more workers because of it. So INnoVation takes mega damage from Zest's little run by, and waiting for the right moment here by Zest has been absolutely perfect. Played out like a charm. That's exactly what he wanted from this. It was more than what he wanted from this. Let's just be realistic, as the first disruptor shot will go awry. Doesn't quite connect just yet. Second one finds a ghost though, and anytime you find a ghost, oh my goodness, every time you find a ghost with a disruptor, that's just amazing. DTs just show up and they just kill off a base, and how about that? Talk about INnoVation just getting up to 4 base economy. Suddenly he doesn't have a 4th base anymore. He's got a new one to replace it with. Now Zest might just lose his own 4th base, but he does have the bottom right, and we've seen so often this base in the bottom right not be seen by players of all races and all matchups until way too late, because you don't expect that as base 5. You expect this as base 5. And so if you see the alternative, you just don't think about that alternative, especially in a game where it feels as though you're keeping the opponent on pretty low eco. When did you get a chance to start a 5th base? Well, maybe INnoVation shouldn't feel like that too much, because he did have a 5th base of his own, hence why he's been able to replace the 4th base so easily. 3 ghosts go down, maybe even 4 actually. That was pretty much all of the ghosts getting caught in that, and that's exactly why you want these disruptors. As the DTs continue across the map, they blink in on top of ghosts. It's not quite a worthwhile trade, I don't think, all those DTs for 2 ghosts. But it just shows how dangerous they are, right? They can blink in, they can force damage in an instant. Great scouting from INnoVation. Sees the bottom right-hand side just about immediately. I mean, didn't let that go unnoticed for too long, right? So INnoVation knows about it. The probe's already pulled away down to what is the 4th base location for the 4th time in this game now from Zest. May only be the 3rd. I've lost count. It has gone down a lot as DTs blink in. More SCV damage being done. INnoVation perhaps feeling like he needs to take a fight. What was that, though? Absolutely no movement on the ramp, but he takes a mega connection from the Disruptor. It's hugely costly as he will chase down those 2 DTs up to the top again. Ah, that's so painful. With 6 more Zealots and 4 more Dark Templars still building up. Do you see a warping of Zest in the top left-hand side? We'll move through. We'll go a-hunting. I think INnoVation's just died of DTs. He's on 40 workers now. We've not really talked much about how many workers he lost this game. 62. 62. Madness. Absolute madness. I mean, that's just so many workers throughout the course of the game. And there was a point where INnoVation kind of... This is when he, like, killed the 4th base and got his own 4th base up again. And Zest is just getting this back under control now. Back into his favor on the eco. And INnoVation is just not getting any better for him. Down on 48 workers. He never actually killed this bottom right base as one Cloak Ghost goes through. We'll go for a few of these probe kills. He gets a couple. Nothing too crazy as the rest of this army from INnoVation continues around through to the right side. Is going to fly. Now, wander underneath this observer flying overhead. So it is seen pretty much right away. As the gravitic boosters are about halfway done. And here come our Zealots and Dark Templar. Gonna go charging through. Already jumping in on this EMP. Actually hits... Wow, the EMP hits a few Zealots. It doesn't hit the DTs. It hits all the Ghosts. There's no more EMP. So now you need a scan to help out with this. And these DTs just continue to be so successful. Big fight breaks out in the bottom right. Again, Disruptors are claiming to be the kings of these engagements so far. Time after time connecting on a lot of units. As INnoVation, his supply dwindling, draining away second by second. And Zest truly in a position now where I feel like Zest has been in control for a while, right? But truly now looking to be more and more in control as the time passes by. Bottom right bases are up and running. So he's a base ahead of INnoVation. Workers ahead of INnoVation. Tech choices are still good, still standing strong. These 2 Colossi still look good. Plenty of Disruptors to utilize. The only thing I would say that is perhaps missing from Zest is I really wouldn't mind seeing a couple of Archons as Disruptors go through again. A couple of Archons for me are always going to be a great addition into any PvT army as Disruptors starting to find some connections. They find really good connections. The thing is, so much has already died on the ground that these Stalks could just turn and fight anyway. Wow, INnoVation doesn't even bother. At the same time, I'm just going to bring you back like a few seconds in this game actually. Because at the same time as this is happening, there is just a little bit else going on, and partly the other reason, you know, INnoVation GG's. Again, Zealots run into this 3rd base. Is there enough units to deal with this? No. Are they going to be anytime soon? No. Nothing in production. So he's also going to lose everything here. If not, you know, if he's still paying attention to this, he might even lose the base. His army obviously isn't looking great. This is primarily Vikings against Colossi that are all dead. They're still, I mean, this army didn't really fight it out, right? But it's like 6 Marines and 3 Marauders against this many Stalkers. The Immortals as well to help out. Nothing is going to go INnoVation's way in this, and that's why he's just out of here in an instant. You know, meanwhile, Zest is still just expanding to the left-hand side as well. And yeah, I mean, this was kind of INnoVation killing being killed by Zest for the last 5 or 6 minutes, it felt like, but INnoVation kept hope in this game for a long time because there was absolutely moments where he was denying this 4th base, and it definitely felt like that was buying himself a way back into this game. It just wasn't quite enough at the end of the day. And so Zest was able to pull out ahead. And I mean, honestly, the Zealots and DTs, this Warp Prism was just parked here for like 5 minutes. Just warping in a set of units after set of units after set of units. And INnoVation just never managed to get rid of it. He never managed to set up anything to deny these run-bys properly. Just took way too much damage. And that's how Zest picks up this 2-0 against INnoVation. Mr. DT Man does it again.